Hello, my fellow students. I am Karam. I am from Iraq. I'm just another GJU student making his presentation for the English oral exam. I love chess and I love history. So today I'm talking about the history of chess. So, if I ask you, how old do you think chess is? I don't know, it seems like very old, very ancient. As old as the human civilizations, maybe? Well, actually, no. Sorry to tell you, but it's relatively new comparing to other major events in history. For example, the last pyramid, Egyptian pyramid, was built 42 centuries ago. Judaism started 4,000 years ago. Christianity was published 2,000 years ago. And the Western Roman Empire fell 16 centuries ago, I guess. So yeah, chess is only 14 centuries old, comparing to those other events. Although chess isn't actually 14 centuries old, it is, since 14 centuries is a game was created called Chaturanga in India. It was totally different from modern day chess, but it looked very much like this. Chaturanga in Hindi means 4 parts or 4 divisions. Some say that's because of four players that used to play this game, but I don't think so. I think it's called that because of the 4 categories or the 4 parts of a classic Indian army that was represented in this game. The footmen, the elephants, the chariots, and the cavalry, which became later in game of chess, pawns, bishops, rooks, and knights. There are many stories of how chess was first. There are many stories of how Chaturanga was first created. One of them says it was a prince who died in battle. His brother wanted to show the scene to his mother by using an 8x8 squares board with white and black pieces over it, and it later became a game. There's another story that says a wise advisor of an Indian king who created this game to show his king, that arrogant king, that everyone in his kingdom, in his realm, had a value and a role to do. Yes, the king is the most important piece in the realm, and without him the realm is gone away. But other pieces are important too and have their own value. So I created this game. Every piece had its own powers, own strengths, and own abilities. And thus, the game of chess was created. There is also another story about chess in India. About Chaturanga in India. It says that the Indian nobilities were too wise to fight each other and kill everybody, bring his man, They kill each other. They said no, let us do this peacefully. So when they had a conflict, they just bring the board and their pieces and they would play chaturanga. And the one who wins is the one who deserves to win the conflict. I don't actually believe in this last one because it's, you don't think humans are ever this wise. Mostly in such battles, I mean, what I imagine would happen, the loser would be furious and attack the other with force and armies, even though he lost the Chaturanga game. Later, this beautiful game of Chaturanga was transferred to the royal court of the Sassanid Empire, specifically to the royal court of the king Khosrow I. The legend says that the Indian diplomats sent this board and pieces to the king Khosrow and told him, if you wish to be the king of kings, your court has to be wise enough to figure out this game. So it was a controversy and a dilemma in the Sassanid court, but it was finally discovered or figured out how to play this game. And yep, I say Khosrow I deserves to be the king of kings. He was really a good king, in my opinion, I guess, at least. Later on, during the Islamic invasion of Persia, this game was discovered by Arabs, and they were so fascinated with it. But it also, as you would guess, it had a great opposition from the Islamic clergy at the time. Because, it's game, wasting time, it's fun. Clergy hates anything that is fun. And it had pieces that looked like real soldiers and real humans and animals, which is forbidden in Islam. It's like you're having it's like black magic. I mean, seriously, you get a statue look like a man and move it and make plans with it. Yeah, that's black magic. What else would it be? So the Muslims got an abstract image of it instead of that detailed, beautiful one, and got this weird shapes of the pawn. This thin column with a thick base and a ball in the head. Only that the knight looks beautiful. Actually, yes, it looks like a horse. The bishop is just a tall pawn with a notch on the head. The rook actually looked in different shapes, actually, not just one. Chess flourished during the Islamic reign, especially in the Abbasid times. Harun Rashid himself was an excellent chess player, Shatranj player. That's what it was called at then. This game, which was different than our modern day chess. Just noticing this, because she didn't play chess, didn't know the queen and the pawns we know today. Just had a different game, but it's too similar to our chess. So this Shatranj was even given as a gift to King Charlemagne by Harun Rashid himself. a set of chess. After the Muslims, uh, later, the Muslims contacted with Europeans, either through the Byzantine Empire or through Sardinia, Sicily, and Corsica. No, not Corsica. Sardinia, Sicily, the Islamic invasion, or the Islamic rule in Iberia, Al-Andalus, or even went through the Crusades when the European Crusaders came to Jerusalem to take the Holy Land. They also got use of the knowledge in hands of the Arabs at the time. So our game Shataranj, that traveled to Europe to become chess. The word chess actually comes from the Persian name Shah. It's not a name, it's a noun. It's the name of the piece of the king in the Shataranj set. They called it Shah. And when the king is threatened, we would say Shah, means like, watch out, your king, bro. King is in danger. And when the king is helpless and can't do anything about him, we say Shahmat, which became lately checkmate. Even in Russian, the name for chess is, till today, the name of chess is Shahmate, or something like this. In the Arabic set of Shataranj, and in the Indian and in the Persian, there wasn't actually a piece for the queen. It was actually an advisor, and it was much less weak. It wasn't such a powerful, let's say, such a powerful weapon or powerful piece. I'm not sure of how the rules were and how it moved, but it wasn't that great, to be honest. I guess the rooks were more valuable than the advisor or the wazir, because lately in Europe, after the game transferred there, it started developing, and for example, the piece of the bishop, it was the elephant, and some places of Europe, they saw that notch over it and thought it looked like a bishop hat, so they called it a bishop. While in France, they saw that notch looks like a jester's hat, so they call it the fool. Across the world in Mongolia, this piece was called a camel. I swear, right? In Europe, the game of Shataranj developed to become chess or Shah. As anywhere in Europe, it has different names, but all came from the origin Shah or Shahmat. Let's just call it chess from now on. So there, first thing, the advisor was replaced by a more pretty and powerful piece called the queen. That's in English, I guess, or something. I think this piece was first feminized in Switzerland or Sweden, I'm not sure actually. But also in Spain, it is called al-fareza, I guess. It came from the word al-wazir in Arabic, but it was also feminized. And by time, the set of moves of the queen changed to become this powerful nuclear weapon we know today. And it's claimed that it's because of powerful women at the time, like Eleanor of Aquitaine and Isabella I of Castile, that changed how people look to the queen, while the king is still that coward piece in the back rank that needs protection all the time. Later, it kept developing. The pawn ability to move two steps was first introduced in the 15th century, and also was en passant. When your opponent moved his pawn two steps forward, you could take it with another pawn at the place it was supposed to move to if it was with only one move. It's complicated, I know, just don't worry about it. Also, castling was added later. It was kept the idea of castling was keeping developing at the Middle Ages, and so it got its modern day version and form and rules. It was in 1620, actually. The first chess clocks was introduced in London. I don't actually know when it was first introduced, but it was first used in a tournament in London in 1883. At that time, chess has already became more than a game. It was something to do with poetry and symbolizing, and had a great place in literature. When you want to describe someone as a very weak or something sacrificable, you'd call him a pawn. And when you want to describe someone as or something as valuable, you describe it as a rook or a queen. Until then, chess was actually in chess place was in the royal courts of kings and the nobilities. Like how it originally started in the royal courts of India and moved to royal courts of the Sassanid Empire and the royal courts of the Arabs and caliphs. And it was even a game for the nobility in their royal courts in Europe. But then when coffee shops started and that stuff, the game moved to the street and to the coffee shops and became a game for the common people, not just for the nobility. And at that time, it was even disgraced. It became nothing special anymore, just any game like domino or backgammon or any dice game. It's not that really respectful game of the high brains, not just a wasting time. Became it was wasting time. And by this, women actually had a great place playing chess. After this happened, it was disgraced for women to play chess, as it looked like a game for filthy men in taverns and coffee shops and the streets. Doesn't look so noble anymore. And till now, you see that game of chess is more dominant by men more than women. Although there are women who are good at chess, really good at grandmasters, who beat other champions a few times, but still, mostly it is dominated by men. Even the FIDE, the World International Organization for Organizing Chess Tournaments and Championships, still separate men and women in this game. I mean, there's chess for women and chess open, which is actually stupid. totally stupid and makes no sense. In the 20th century, chess became more than a game. It didn't become a game for the nobility, no, it's still a game for anyone, but became a game as a sport, and not just a sport. Became the axis of political conflict between, guess who? The USA and the Soviet Union. For most of the 20th century, the Soviet Union dominated this game. Russian players or just Soviet citizens were mostly the champions of this tournaments until one American citizen actually could reach there and humiliate the Soviets, who was none other than Bobby Fischer, who could chess quickly later, and the Russian dominant. The Russians dominated the game again. But also, there was a Russian chess player who got the highest ranking in the world. We could argue he's the best player ever who played chess, and his name is Garry Kasparov, who dominated the World Championship for 20 years. For 20 years, this man never lost and was always the chess champion, the chess world champion. But this was also humiliated again, but not by an American citizen this time. It was by an American machine. The IBM computer Deep Blue managed to win over Garry Kasparov. I think it was 6 matches, 4 of them or 3 of them Deep Blue won, I guess. I'm not sure actually about this. After Kasparov lost that game with Deep Blue, computer chess engines, changed the world of chess totally and forever. Now no human can compete the machine, but we can say that we can use the computers to improve our chess. For example, myself, after every game I play every chess game I play, I analyze it using an engine instead of wasting my time to see what blunders I did. The engine would tell me what should I have done and what mistakes I did and what are other mistakes my opponents did. That really helps improving the player's ranking and ability in chess, actually. By the way, chess engines don't think in chess just the way we do. No, we think strategically. We think controlling the center, keeping the king safe, and we have some concepts that we have to follow to play chess. Computers don't do this. Computers just analyze every single move and see after the computer that bit Deep Blue, that bit Garry Kasparov could see 12 moves in advance. This pawn can go here, After this, the opponents play. After this, I play this. It's totally insane. So many moves the computer could see. It's actually great that Garry Kasparov could compete with this machine. But this insane monster, of course, it can win always. So this, I took my time actually explaining the history of chess since it was first created till how it is today, and it and how I play it. So thank you for watching and listening to me, although I took much of your time. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you again for your watching.